Konami, my guy, you serious right now? Triple tactics thrusting. All right. Look, I know you've been f***ing us for the past few years, but you didn't have to put it on card text. Now everyone knows what's going on with ya, big dog, and it's Update Monday. It has been 1 year, 9 months, and 1 week of kicking rheumatoid arthritis' ass. Seeing that we were ridiculously close to 2 years, I like to reflect back on what happened when I first got rheumatoid arthritis. I said in my head, look, I know it's going to be better. I know it's going to be better, because you don't let what happened at the beginning of your day ruin the rest of your day. And here we are, a year, almost 2 years on, and we doing that thing, baby. I not only apply that same philosophy for Update Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, I apply it to my whole life. And if you guys use that same logic, I promise you life will be so much better. Just like how we're going to be applying that logic on the top 5 meta decks in Yu-Gi-Oh right now. We've been talking about a lot of strategies that were supported or just got better in Photon Hypernova. I think it's best that we talk about the best 5. What is your starting 5 Yu-Gi-Oh decks in your lineup right now? Of course, big dog, I am here to give you that answer. And if you want to see deck list of these particular strategies, then consider supporting my Patreon. As a special thanks for helping me pay my editors, I do tend to put deck list of these top 5 videos on there. Without further ado, I won't waste any more of your time. Let's talk about the top 5 meta Yu-Gi-Oh decks. The 5th one, you're gonna love. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring the scapegoat out of the room. This wasn't what I was talking about, was I? If you've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh for these past couple of months, you should already know by now that Tearlament is considered one of the best decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Not only does it have top tier representation over the entire Darkwing Blast format, it actually gets stronger from Photon Hypernova. With the new monster of Cash Tier Tearlaments, the Tearlament strategy gets insane! This monster has a quick effect to be able to banish a Tearlament monster from your hand or graveyard to summon itself, and then when it's summoned, it gets to send the top 3 cards from the deck to the graveyard. My f***ing guy, it's another Halfness! Look, chill, Konami.
Halfness nuts in your mouth?
Seriously, why'd you make another Halfness? There's a little bit more to it, as if this card is sent to the graveyard, it allows you to send 2 Mo, essentially being able to send 1/8 of your deck to the graveyard. Context, my light sworn brethren, this Kid Kalos and Kelbeck can send 15 cards from your deck to the graveyard, and they ain't gotta wait for the end phase.
Fucking abomination, dog. I don't know what to tell you.
Unless there's a forbidden list to check tier limits, which if there is, we'll make another video. This strategy has only gotten stronger from Photon Hypernova and can be mixed with the next best deck, or the next deck that players are seeing as the best deck in the game. Seeing that Cash Tier Tearlaments is still a Cash Tier card, a lot of players have been mixing their Tearlament strategy with the Cash Tier monsters or playing Cash Tier Pure. The Cash Tier deck allows you to special summon themselves to the side of the field if you control no monsters. They're all Cyber Dragons, except they don't have that bad thing that says, no, you could just summon them. To be honest, off the top, that's not really necessarily toxic, being able to summon huge body monsters to your side of the field, but where it gets really toxic with the Cash Tier strategy is that one of its Exceed boss monsters in Cash Tier Shangri-La allows you to lock out an opponent's spell or trap card zone every time you banish a card face down, and my guy, you fucking banish face down. Decking a player out with Runic, normal summoning Rabina, locking out monsters and spells in trap card zones. What a time to be alive, right? Yu-Gi-Oh! Wasn't supposed to get more toxic! Cash Tier is easily one of the best strategies in Yu-Gi-Oh! When we open Photon Hypernova, but if you want to see an archetype analysis on the particular strategy to show you how ridiculous it is, go ahead and let me know down below in the comment section. But now that we got the 2 bozo decks out of this top 5 meta decks, let's start talking about some of these other decks. A few things that I've noticed about both Cash Tier and Tearlament, while I do think that they'll make up the meta as it stands right now, they have some apparent weaknesses that these other 3 decks can take full advantage, and I think that's pretty much what's going to round off the format. The next 3 decks have a few things in common. They both have some type of way to be able to counter both Tearlament and Cash Tier, but they also provide some immunity to the hand traps that are going to be played into the format, because there are going to be some hand traps that are going to be played into the format. format. On top of that, all three of these decks have their own identity and are very unlikely to be hit by the Forbidden List. They only have everything to gain. The first strategy is going to be a little bit more obvious than the next two. I promise you, they get way more crazier as we go deeper into this video. Thank Conspiracy Cali. But even with no support inside of Photon Hypernova, Sprite has actually positioned itself to be a really good deck going forward. Sprite has always had a pretty interesting matchup against the Tearlament deck because the Bestial monsters are cards that the deck can play, and now with the new Bestial Baldrake monster, they got another Bestial monster. My friend, what's good to 9 Bestial monsters? 12? 12? You ain't gotta say it, it's 12. Bestial Sprite was already gaining a ton of popularity through the end of the Darkwing Blast format, and now with the new Bestial monster, it will not only be able to summon huge monsters to the side of the field to disrupt light and dark decks, it also has a way to stop the Kashtira monsters. Bro, this deck is sneaky good. Every time you think that the deck is down and out, it finds a new level 2 monster to keep it relevant. That new level 2 monster that Sprite is now incorporating into their deck is Nightmare Corruptor Ibli. Not only does this card prevent Tearlaments from being able to use Halfness and their Tearlaments Kashtira effect, it also prevents them from being able to fusion summon as long as they control that monster. That can be huge. Against Kashtira, you can't summon Kashtira monsters to your side of the field if you control the monster, so even then, giving your opponent a Nightmare Corruptor Ibli is actually insane. Between that and cards like Enemy Controller to be able to take your opponent's bish whenever possible, I think Sprite will still retain its status as one of the best decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Post Photon Hypernova. Now, if you don't like the big three and you want to thrust another deck into the meta, see what I did there? I genuinely do not understand. The picture has him like this. Is he... How is he thrusting? A deck that has a similar winning strategy to be able to beat both decks is easily the Despia strategy. This deck got a ton of support from the Photon Hypernova set and is a completely different deck. Hey, new year, new me. Brandon got some incredible toys from Photon Hypernova. Take, for example, the Rindworm Striking Dragon, allowing you to be able to negate an activated monster effect of an Exceed, Link, Synchro, or Fusion monster and return it to the extra deck. That means monsters like Kashtira Shangri-La won't be able to lock out zones, but even more importantly, Kashtira Kit Kalos not only has her effect negated, she won't go to the graveyard to trigger her effects, she'll go right back to where she came from. Listen here, girl. We don't like your kind around here. But I'm a fusion monster, just like you. They took our jobs! Rindworm can be a legitimate answer to those extra deck focused decks, and in case you thought that Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring on top of the branded fusion would help, this deck actually has a ton of other ways to fuse through its monster effects. The deck is also still strikingly similar to the Sprite strategy, as it does have a similar card of Ibli being able to use branded Explosion to be able to give a Kashtira player monster on the field. Pretty much has the exact same effect as Nightmare Corruptor Ibli, especially when you give him crazy cards like Idol the Supreme Being, Jowagin the Spiritualist, and Ra's Disciple. There's almost no limit of how you want to torture a Kashtira player or your opposing player if you play the branded strategy right. Now, the last strategy, I told you I am completely off my rocker when I mention this fifth strategy. You are going to be like, yo, Cali, yo, hold on. But when I explain it to you, it might just make perfect sense. Plus, if there's one thing that I've learned from playing in this Yu-Gi-Oh format, there's always that one deck that can completely change the format that players are just not paying attention to. I genuinely think that dragons have a legitimate chance to be able to completely change the format, and there's a couple of reasons why. The first thing is the new Bestial monster. Bestial Baldrake actually completes a Bestial set. Just like branded in Sprite, being able to get another Bestial monster is huge, but this deck takes it a little bit further, as being able to tribute a light and dark dragon monster can have so many more effects for a dragon deck. Forcing your opponent to infinite impermanence a monster like your Heretic Seal of Heavenly Spheres, and then being able to use Baldrake to not only disrupt their summon, but summon another dragon monster is amazing. And also seeing that it is another level 6 chaos monster that you can summon to your side of the field, being able to make Autumn to practically search any dragon monster from your deck is also a very plausible choice. I think dragons have a legitimate shot to be really good right now. Against tier limits, you have the Bestials. Against hand traps, the Dragon decks have always been pretty consistent at being able to repel them, if not work with them. And Dragons have always had enough space to be able to play some powerful going second cards to be able to break Kashtira's board. I don't know, maybe I've just been hanging around too many Dragon players, but one thing I do know is when Photon Hypernova does come out, I'm going to be looking for cards to be able to improve these decks, as I think it's going to have the best chance of being able to win. And of course, if you don't like my Hopium choice, which is my 5th choice, I want you to post down below in the comment section, what do you think would be a better spot? Until then, big dog, make sure to click on these other videos for more amazing TheCaliEffect content. And if you want to check out the Master Duel channel, be sure to click out Master Duel, as I'll catch you on the next one, big dog.